Alright, welcome to the KLR project. So I got a video I wanted to make about, I put in a new rear spring and a couple of things I learned and a couple of things I wanted to share with you. Anyway, the spring I bought from Rocky Mountain ATV and MC. Let's see what it cost me. 80 bucks for the new spring sitting in there. Here's the old spring. The wife and I went on a ride last weekend. I got my bags. They're not really, my pannier's not really full of anything, but notice this thing was just riding real low. And anyway, I decided to put a new spring in it. I didn't mess with the shock or the shock oil. I just put the spring on there. But I wanted to share with you a couple things I learned about doing this procedure. Anyway, when you do it, make sure your bike is up in the air and stable on a motorcycle lift, or if you can do it with your center stand. You definitely want to do that, and make sure that that the back end is not real heavy. The problem that I had was I took the whole thing apart, and as soon as I took that last bolt out, the thing pretty much wanted to do a wheelie. And there was nothing supporting the whole back end. So either strap the front down, make sure it's up in the air, and do it that way with the rear tire close to the ground. Just be careful when you do it. Other than that, it was real easy to get the shock out and get the shock back in. Once I had it completed, it wasn't a problem at all. So there's a lot of videos on how to do that. It's not real hard. One bolt at the top, and then your links on the bottom there. Kind of hard to see, but all this in here, just take out, unbolt, drop the shock out, put it in a vise. What I really wanted to share was on this spring compressor that I bought from Rocky Mountain, made by Tusk. A couple things I learned. First thing is, I think it's too short. The compression ratio, I guess. It only grabs a few coils, not a few, 4, maybe 5. I think they could have done a little better job at making it a little longer, but I don't know, maybe it's for a bunch of different applications. It worked, but it was kind of sketchy. It didn't grab the shock spring real well. A couple times this thing twisted on me, and it went to one side where the other one was. You put one on each side of this, and then compress them equally, and it kind of started to walk over towards the other one and bow the spring out. Be careful of that. Secondly, when you do this, make sure, basically what you do is you either put your 3/8 socket inside that, or I think it's a 17 millimeter wrench on the end, or your 3/8 socket, the square drive. Can you see that in there in the inside? I don't even know where my doggone, there it is. Anyway, so I just used a socket ratchet, 3/8 ratchet, and put it in there, not a socket, and just tightened it and compressed the spring that way. And you want to hold on to this thing as it's sitting on there. I used an adjustable wrench and just kind of put it on there so it wouldn't, walk around on me. What I didn't understand when I started this, I should have looked down on the inside of this thing, and it's basically the just real thin sheet metal. And I grabbed it with my wrench out here, and it deformed. You can see a little bit of deformity on this one. I should have put my wrench up here where there was support for that wrench. I didn't realize it was so weak in the middle here. I'll show you the damage I did on this one. Bent the snot out of that one. It still works, but anyway, got to be careful of that. So I wanted to share that with you. When you use this Tusk shock spring compressor tool, just be careful that it can walk on the spring. So do it evenly. I did it like I got it to a point where I was doing 5 or 10 not rotations, just I used my ratchet 5 times, used it over here 5 times, and just kept walking it, compressing the spring equally on either side. But again, be careful when you use this thing. It just deformed this. I think it'll still work for what I need it to do, but again, be careful. Again, I think they could have done a better job on the making it a little longer, but for 35 bucks, wasn't too bad of a deal. It worked once, and my spring is in there. Thing rides a lot better. You haven't put the wife on the back yet, and we haven't gone for a ride, but just around the neighborhood, it definitely seems to have helped. I hope you enjoyed the video. Talk to you later.